If you're a founder, you've probably heard about pivots way too many times. Before I was an entrepreneur, pivot was a word that described a funny scene from Friends. But in the last 10 years, this has become a word that I've come to both love and hate at the same time. In the early stages of a startup, it is very common to go through a lot of idea pivots. You would be trying a bunch of things, you don't really know what is exactly going to work out for you. So, in many ways, I like to just call them experiments and not even pivots. A pivot in my mind should be used to describe something more serious, like you built something substantial, you tried it out for a while, figured out that there is a better thing out there, or this doesn't have a market, and you decide to go do something else. Once again, if this is all happening before you had any success at all, that is one type of pivot, and those are typically okay to do with the current investors, with the current cap table, because most likely these things happen before you raised significant amounts of money. But occasionally, there'll be situations like ours where we have to pivot after you've seen significant success, product market fit at scale. This happened to a bunch of companies during the dot com crash in the early 2000s. Yardley is an example. They did really well during the dot com rise, and then they really struggled during the crash. And they had to pivot, and they were able to get a new investor to write them a reset term sheet, which basically cramped down existing investors, and they redistributed shares to the team members who ended up staying. And then they came out of that and they were able to sell the company for $660 million, making money for everybody that were involved, including the ones that were cramped down. Sometimes investors will actually do it themselves. If they have a portfolio company that needs to go through a major pivot, they will actually shut down the current company. And if they still believe in the founders, they will spin up a new company, sell the old IP to the new company for a very small amount of money, and they will, start up a new cap table. This is for intelligent investors who know that that is what is going to maximize the chances of success for that company. But many investors, if they're not that savvy, will not see that and they will want to hold on to their equity, and that is where all of the trouble begins. Now, as second time founders, if I ever caught myself in that situation again, I'll probably put my foot down and demand that we shut down and start a new company in that situation. But we weren't that savvy then as first time founders. Also, we were really concerned for our angel investors who were among the first ones to write checks for us. And some of them were, friends and ex colleagues who knew us well. Some of them invested for the first time ever in a startup. So we kind of thought about that and we felt like we would be doing them wrong if we shut down this company and started a new cap table. But at the end of the day, that was still foolish because this is not a viable option. So if you're going through a major pivot, it is always, always a good idea to shut down and start fresh.